CM Punk joins the Bloodline. Roman Reigns has his wise man again. Tommaso Ciampa turning heel. I have a really painful hemorrhoid, but let's do this Smackdown recap and review. Let's go. I'm mostly going to be recapping the most important stuff, all the mid to end stuff I'm not really going to go over. You can go over it for yourself, but let's start off with how Smackdown usually starts off with Bloodline shenanigans. Same old, Solo wants everyone to acknowledge him, even though that nobody acknowledges him. And the OG Bloodline couldn't get Seth to come on board, and Bronson Reed kind of destroyed him on Monday Night Raw, so that's kind of like a, we don't think he's coming. Plus, he already rejected us multiple times, and so like they're like, we don't have a plan. What we're gonna do? And Roman Reigns is like, nigga, I don't know. You know what? This is all we need. Screw this. Fuck them. If we gonna go in there, we're gonna either win together or we're gonna die together. I'm just sitting here like, is that really a good idea? But that's not even the craziest part. They met together in the ring for like the final segment of the show, and Solo's like, look, I still love you guys. I never lost love for you. All I want you to do is acknowledge me. Either you acknowledge me or you die right here. And I'm just sitting here like, whoa, hold up. Did Solo just threaten to murder them? Like, oh, is this wrestling anymore? Are we threatening people's lives now? This is kind of bringing me back to when Seth Rollins was threatening to end Edge's life by curb stomping him. And then this just brought a whole different vibe. I'm like, are y'all wrestlers or a fucking mob? Which one are y'all? You just threatened to murder every single man that is in that ring right now. Like, how do you come back from that? And then out of nowhere, we hear, ladies and gentlemen, we all know who it is. We love this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And then Paul Heyman went on to say, I don't think that the War Games match should be 4-on-5. I think it should be 5-on-5. And as he was about to introduce the next person, I'm sitting here thinking that it's obviously Seth Rollins, because of what happened between Bronson Reed and the Bloodline and all that stuff. I was expecting to hear, burn it down. But nope, didn't hear that. What I heard was, yes, it was none other than CM Punk. Fucking Phil, man. Phil. I wasn't expecting CM Punk to be in this match or be anywhere near the Bloodline, have nothing to do with the Bloodline shenanigans. But now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense. Hear me out. See, those of you who don't know, those of you dweebs who don't know your WWE history, CM Punk and Paul Heyman were a team back in the early 2010s. Yes, Paul Heyman was CM Punk's manager, and that was one of the best things, the best parts about CM Punk's whole entire career. CM Punk went on one of the longest WWE title runs with the spinner belt as Paul Heyman was by his side and CM Punk was heel. That all ended with when Brock Lesnar came back, but just saying. Not only that, but CM Punk wrestled for the revamped ECW brand that was pretty much horrible, but CM Punk was the one person who stood out. Not even the one person who stood out, but Paul Heyman was the one person that vouched for CM Punk to be as big as a star as he is today when nobody believed in him but Paul Heyman. And if you do recall, a little bit after WrestleMania 40, when the new Bloodline started taking over and terrorizing Paul Heyman, CM Punk popped up on an episode of Smackdown, and Paul Heyman pleaded with CM Punk to take Paul with him to Raw because he did not want anything to do with this new Bloodline. And CM Punk may regret that a little, because not too long after Paul Heyman pleaded with Punk to go with him, the Bloodline attacked Paul Heyman, sending him through a table and giving him multiple Jacob Fatu style moonsaults. And now CM Punk is pretty much pissed off because of what happened to Paul. I know Roman's pissed off of what happened to Paul. CM Punk's pissed off at what happened to Paul. Hell, for all we know, Brock Lesnar could be pissed off of what happened to Paul. But here's the most interesting thing about this segment. Well, maybe the most interesting thing, I don't know. But anyways, it's to further push some storylines. After they took out the new Bloodline, Roman Reigns looked at CM Punk and asked him, why are you here? Like, what are you doing here? Like, I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns doesn't really like CM Punk. They're basically going to be playing who is the best booty call for Paul Heyman. And, that's going to stir up tension between Punk and Roman, and we may get a Punk and Roman feud for who knows when, the Royal Rumble maybe, I don't know, or maybe somewhere down the line. But one thing it does do is push the storyline of Punk and Seth Rollins further, because Punk took Seth's spot in the War Games match when the Bloodline kept asking Seth Rollins. So I know Punk is going to use that to fuel the feud with Seth Rollins. And we already know that we're going to get a Punk and Reigns feud somewhere near the future. I don't know, maybe next year. But Triple H is cooking right now. But here's where Triple H isn't cooking right now. I mean, every single booker has their pros and cons. A lot of people like to shit on Tony Khan. I do too, but he does do some good things with AEW, like Jon Moxley and Swerve and Bobby Lashley. He's doing real good with those guys. But here's where Triple H isn't doing good: the women's division. Okay, so we all know we got the women's U.S. title tournament, which, if you ask me, I say is not the right time, because the women haven't been given much time at all, and there are already way too many titles, and the tag titles are just now being booked somewhat properly with Bianca and Jade. But at the end of the day, who am I? But another thing that Triple H isn't cooking with is the women's War Games match. We honestly didn't need a women's War Games match this year, because none of the women, like, really... It kind of feels like they meshed them together. The baby faces and the heels, they meshed them together to say, yeah, we got 2 War Games match for Survivor Series War Games. For one, it doesn't make sense for Liv Morgan to team up with Nia Jax when she just faced her in Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel Women's Championship. And at the same time, Tiffany Stratton was teasing cashing in on Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, kind of. But that's not the only thing that doesn't make sense about this. Io aligning herself with the baby faces when she's been with Damage Control being a heel most of this time. They could have, I don't know, maybe like drew out the story like a long time ago of slowly turning Io babyface, but they just kind of did it out of nowhere. Look, I understand that Io is soon to be facing Liv Morgan, but that gives her no reason to team with Rhea Ripley and I forget whoever else is in a War Games match. I think Naomi or whatever, but that's really not a good reason. And then Rhea Ripley herself, I wouldn't count her as a mega heel. I would just count her as a, what do they say, an anti-hero, more of those for herself type of people. And then she hasn't really been in any type of team talking to any of the other women wrestlers that much. So it really doesn't make that much sense for a women's War Games match right now. Maybe next year when there's been actual conflict between multiple women, but not now. But that's just my opinion. Also, what is also my opinion, I think Chelsea Green should be the first women's U.S. title. I mean, think about it. Chelsea has been putting on stellar performances. She's been eating a lot of shit, meaning taking spots and literally being dumped in a dumpster with shit on her and taking a you smell like shit storyline. She's been eating shit. She deserves some type of comeuppance, and she has been putting on good performances. And then that Unprettier she hit on Blair Davenport was beautiful, and I'm starting to believe in Chelsea Green now. I feel like Chelsea Green should be the one to win the U.S. title first. Also, another thing Triple H is kind of cooking with right now is the whole Tommaso Ciampa thing right now. Tommaso Ciampa is slowly turning heel. We saw last week what happened when Tommaso Ciampa interrupted the title match between the Street Profits and Motor City Machine Guns, and then him getting in Johnny's face saying he wants the titles. Then this week we saw him actually push Johnny Gargano down and was like, are you teaming with them or teaming with me? But we're starting to see NXT version of Tommaso Ciampa, the version that we actually like, because I haven't liked this version of Tommaso Ciampa that's been on the main roster for a while now. It's sucked. It's been ass. Especially their shitty ass theme song, We Are DIY. And last but not least, the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton storyline. That's been a pretty good storyline. Pretty solid. Not the best, but pretty solid storyline. I can't hate. I like it. Kevin Owens turning heel, using a power driver as his new finisher, I'm assuming now. And to be honest, if he's gonna bust that out in the move, he better win with it. But Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens basically having a battle of words, and they're most likely gonna have their match in Survivor Series, which is in Vancouver, Canada. If I'm not mistaken, I know it's in Canada, but I think the specific part was Vancouver. I think I may have to look that over again. But I think the crowd is going to go crazy. They're going to absolutely love Kevin Owens and most likely boo Cody Rhodes, which sucks. That kind of puts Cody Rhodes in like a John Cena position when he faced Edge in Toronto. But it is what it is. I think Randy Orton is going to return at Survivor Series and for whatever reason RKO Cody, because we know we're getting a Randy Orton heel turn sometime soon. But that was my SmackDown recap and review. I am Cass Lounge. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. This channel has been doing really good. Man, I'm tired. I gotta go take care of this hemorrhoid. Holla at your boy, y'all.
Yeah. I've been killed there, yeah, my nightmare. I can fight there, came back, you seem quite scared. Who did I spare? I'm grizzly, no polite bear, no fear. Now I need a nightmare. Why? Because I write there on this mic. I'm a night terror, nightmare. My vision and my thoughts.